everybody! My name is Terry T-Rex, and I'm here for Library Week. It's day 3. I'm holding up 3 fingers. You can't see them. But I'm holding up 3 fingers because it's day 3 of Library Week. And we're going to read another book today. This one is Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oops, there's the back. Tyrannosaurus Rex by my good friend Laura Driscoll. So we're going to read this, find out what happens, and let's jump into it.
Stanley was just wild about animals. He loved to learn everything about them. One day, Stanley drew a picture of a dinosaur. He showed it to his dog, Harry, his cat, Elsie, and his goldfish, Dennis. "It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex," said Stanley, "one of the biggest meat-eating dinosaurs." "Well done, Stanley," said Dennis, the goldfish. Stanley wanted to play dinosaur with his big brother Lionel, but Lionel was busy practicing with his band. "When won't you be busy?" Stanley asked Lionel. "Later," Lionel replied. "But I want to play dinosaur now," wailed Stanley. "Stanley!" Lionel shouted. "Scram! Can't you see us big kids are rehearsing?" Stanley was sad. "I bet if I was a big animal like a T-Rex, Lionel would play with me." "Well, Rex does mean king in Latin. That's how a T-Rex got his name, because he was the king of all dinosaurs," said Dennis the goldfish. "Stanley," Dennis went on, "do you know enough about a T-Rex to want to be one?" Thought Stanley. What would it be like to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex? So Stanley opened up his favorite book, the Great Big Book of Everything, and turned to the T-Rex section. Then he and Dennis jumped right into the pages of the book. Stanley looked up. A flying reptile soared overhead. "Where are we, Dennis?" asked Stanley. "This is North America during the Cretaceous period," Dennis replied. "That was a time 75 million years before you were even born." Stanley smiled. "Who needs a drawing of a T-Rex when I can be a T-Rex?" he said. Dennis pointed out that, as a T-Rex, Stanley was 15 feet tall as 3 Lionels. He was longer than a school bus, he was heavier than 3 cars, and he had long legs that helped him move quickly, but his arms were very short. "A T-Rex hardly ever used its arms," said Dennis. Just then, Stanley spotted 2 smaller dinosaurs drinking at a river. "Fun! Maybe they might play with me," Stanley thought. "I'm a T-Rex," he said with a playful roar. "Let's play." The dinosaurs took one look at Stanley and raced off in the opposite direction. "Maybe I should lose the roar," Stanley asked Dennis. Next, Stanley saw another T-Rex and walked over to him to say hello. The other T-Rex's only reply was a loud and terrible roar. It was so loud and so terrible that Stanley and Dennis decided they'd had just about enough of the Great Big Book of Everything for one day. Stanley picked up Dennis's fishbowl and leapt back into his bedroom. Stanley closed the book with a sigh of relief. Then he and Dennis told Elsie and Harry what they had learned. "The T-Rex is a solitary creature," said Dennis. "That means it likes to be alone." "Well, I don't," said Stanley. "I like having friends, especially friends that don't run away from me." Thought Stanley. Maybe it's better not being a T-Rex after all. "And maybe acting big and mighty like a Tyrannosaurus Rex isn't the best way to make friends," Elsie suggested. Then Stanley got an idea. He got some cornflakes and a coffee can and made an instrument called a maraca. Then he played along with Lionel's band. That was awesome. Who played the maraca? Lionel asked. Hi, Lionel, Stanley asked. Do you mind? Mind, Lionel replied. Cornflakes in a rock band? It's new. It's different. It's just what we need. Stanley smiled a big smile. That night, Stanley and Dennis talked about their day. The most important thing I learned is that acting big and mighty wouldn't make Lionel want to play with me, said Stanley. Dennis smiled. I think Lionel is very lucky to have a little brother like you. And I'm very lucky to have a friend like you, said Stanley. Good night, Dennis. Dennis yawned. Good night, King Stanley.
The end. So that's our book for today. We're going to be back with a book from tomorrow. And in the meantime, since we all have to stay inside a little bit, let's be solitary creatures. Let's be a little bit like a T-Rex. Stay inside for now because it's saving some lives. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!